Welcome back to Money Mind Unlocked. I'm your host, Scott Blaze. Today we're diving into a topic that has quietly transformed the lives of thousands, without extreme effort, without high income, and without complex spreadsheets. It's called minimalist budgeting. Not only is it a financial strategy, it's a mindset shift, a new way of thinking about money, freedom, and what truly matters. We're going to explore how to spend less, save more, and live better, not by doing more, but by doing less with intention. Let's begin with a story. Nina was making $55 a year, working full-time in marketing, living in a one-bedroom apartment in the city. On paper, she was fine, but every month, her bank account barely survived. She'd cut lattes, skipped vacations, even sold some clothes online. Still, savings never grew. The problem wasn't her income. It was her structure. She didn't know where her money was going. Every dollar had a destination, but none had a purpose. One day, she stumbled across a quote: "Minimalism isn't about having less. It's about making room for more of what matters." That shifted everything. She built a minimalist budget. 3 months later, she saved $1,200. By month 6, she had a $3 emergency fund. Her anxiety dropped, her confidence soared, and she finally felt in control. How did she do it? Let's break it down. First, what is minimalist budgeting? It's not about deprivation, it's about direction. It's a simple, focused plan that removes clutter from your finances and makes every dollar intentional. It begins with clarity. Nina started by printing out 3 months of her bank statements. She highlighted every transaction with a color code: green for essentials, yellow for lifestyle, red for waste. Her realization? Over 30% of her spending was in red. Unused subscriptions, takeout she didn't remember ordering, impulse Amazon buys. She didn't shame herself. She studied herself. That's the first mindset shift. You're not here to punish past spending. You're here to understand it. The next step? The rule of 3. Instead of 10 budget categories, Nina used just 3. 1. Essentials, rent, groceries, bills. 2. Growth, savings, debt repayment, investments. 3. Joy, fun, hobbies, entertainment. Every dollar had to fall into one of those buckets. This made her spending clear, her decisions easier, and her guilt lower. Minimalist budgeting removes decision fatigue. No more wondering if a $12 movie rental ruins your budget. If you've allocated $100 to joy for the month and you've spent $90, you have $10 left. Simple. Now, Nina didn't stop there. She applied a strategy I call the first 10 rule. Every time she got paid, the first 10% went to savings. Automatically, before rent, before food, before fun. Why? Because savings isn't what's left over. It's what you prioritize. She opened a separate high-yield savings account and set an auto-transfer on payday. Within 2 months, she had over $800. For the first time, she felt wealth growing. Then came the subscription audit. Nina listed every recurring charge. She asked 3 questions for each. 1. Did I use this in the last month? 2. Would I miss it if it disappeared? 3. Is there a cheaper alternative? She canceled 5, paused 2, and switched 1. That freed up $97 a month, over $1,100 a year. Next came meal simplification. No, she didn't start cooking everything from scratch. She picked 3 go-to meals per week. She batch cooked on Sundays. She saved time, money, and decision energy. That cut her grocery bill by 20% and slashed her takeout habit in half. Before we continue, if you've found value so far, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. This helps more people discover simple tools to change their financial lives. Now, let's keep going. Because the next steps are where minimalist budgeting gets truly transformational, not just saving money, but reshaping your relationship with it. Let's return to Nina. After the first month of tracking and trimming, something unexpected happened. She didn't just save money, she started feeling lighter. Her evenings were less chaotic. Her weekends weren't spent returning things she regretted buying. She had fewer transactions and fewer worries. That's the secret gift of minimalist budgeting. It's not just what it gives you, it's what it takes away: stress, clutter, and decision fatigue. The next layer Nina added was cash flow mapping. Instead of seeing her bank account as one big pile of money, she began assigning every dollar a job. She used a system known as zero-based budgeting, but kept it simple. Each payday, she mapped out her income across the three categories: essentials, growth, joy, until her balance was zero. Every dollar went somewhere. There was no extra, just intention. This taught her to make trade-offs consciously. If she wanted to increase her joy budget for a weekend trip, she'd reduce a bit from essentials by meal prepping or finding cheaper transport. She wasn't limiting her life, she was designing it. She also embraced what I call the digital envelope. Instead of carrying cash envelopes, Nina used digital banking features, separate savings goals inside her account. One for rent, one for food, one for fun. This helped her visualize her spending in real time. She no longer feared checking her balance, because she knew exactly what it meant. The number in her account wasn't a mystery. It was a mirror. She also set what I call the joy cap. No matter how much she earned, Nina decided joy would never exceed 20% of her take-home pay. That included dining out, shopping, subscriptions, and entertainment. This cap forced creativity. When she wanted more fun without more money, she hosted potlucks, explored free events, borrowed books, and took up journaling. To her surprise, these low-cost joys were often more fulfilling than the pricey ones. Minimalist budgeting wasn't just saving her money, it was revealing what actually brought her happiness. She began to understand that buying less didn't mean living less. It meant choosing better, choosing with clarity, choosing with values. Eventually, Nina hit a major milestone. 6 months in, she saved enough to cover 2 months of living expenses. That emergency buffer changed everything. She no longer panicked when her car needed a repair. She didn't flinch when a bill was higher than expected. She had margin, and margin gave her peace. That peace gave her power. With confidence growing, she tackled her debt. Using the avalanche method, she listed all her debts by interest rate. She kept paying the minimum on everything, but threw every extra dollar at the highest interest one first. Each time she paid off a card, she rolled that payment into the next. She wasn't just reducing debt, she was building momentum, and momentum builds motivation. Nina went from paycheck to purposeful in less than a year. Not by earning more, not by winning the lottery, but by simplifying, focusing, and being intentional. That's minimalist budgeting. It's not about sacrifice, it's about strategy. It's not about saying no forever. It's about saying yes to what matters most. And once you adopt it, you start seeing possibilities everywhere. Let me introduce you to someone else, Darren. Darren was a school teacher earning a modest salary. He didn't think budgeting was for him. He thought it was for people with money problems or money obsession. But he tried the minimalist approach for 30 days. He simplified his accounts, tracked his spending in 3 categories, and stopped making excuses. By day 28, he was shocked. He saved $482 without feeling deprived. He realized his daily habits were leaking money, not his income level. That month changed his life. Now Darren teaches his students about financial literacy. Because once you learn this, you can't help but share it. Minimalist budgeting isn't just a personal tool, it's a movement. And the more people who join it, the more freedom we all create. In the next segment, we'll break down the exact minimalist tools, templates, and techniques you can use, whether you're earning $800 a month or $8. Because this system doesn't depend on how much you make, it depends on how well you manage what you keep. Let's now get tactical. You're ready to build your own minimalist budget. Here's how to start, step by step. Step 1. Determine your average monthly income. If you're salaried, this is straightforward. If your income fluctuates, look at the last 3 months and take the lowest one. Plan with that. Why the lowest? Because it ensures your budget works even on a slow month. Step 2. Create the 3 core categories: essentials, rent, utilities, groceries, transportation, growth, savings, debt repayment, investing, joy, dining out, hobbies, entertainment. Step 3. Set your percentage targets. Start simple: 60% to essentials, 30% to growth, 10% to joy. Adjust as needed, but always aim to increase growth over time. If you can live on 50% and invest 40%, that's fantastic, but don't force it, build gradually. Step 4. Track it visually. Use a whiteboard, a spreadsheet, or a free app like EveryDollar or YNAB. But keep it simple: color-coded rows, monthly summaries. You don't need 40 charts, you need clarity. Step 5. Review weekly. Spend 15 minutes every Sunday reviewing your categories. Ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Did my spending match my values? 2. Is anything leaking or creeping? 3. What will I change next week? This reflection is where transformation happens. Awareness breeds better choices. Step 6. Automate everything you can. Set up auto transfers for savings. Auto-pay bills. Use autopilot to reduce temptation. Remember, discipline is easier when it's built into the system. Step 7. Give yourself grace. You'll overspend. You'll forget a category. You'll feel behind. That's okay. Budgeting is not about perfection. It's about awareness, direction, and course correction. Even a messy budget is better than none. Now, let's talk about low-budget living. Some believe minimalist budgeting is only for those with high income to trim. But the truth is, it's even more powerful for low-income earners. When money is tight, clarity becomes critical. Tasha, a single mom working part-time, started minimalist budgeting with just $1,200 a month. After 90 days, she had $300 saved, not because she cut out joy, but because she gave it structure. She set a $50 joy budget. She used community programs for groceries. She swapped babysitting with neighbors. She simplified meals, embraced secondhand shopping, and leaned on local resources. It wasn't easy, but it was empowering. She said, "For the first time, I felt like I was steering the car, instead of just reacting to the road." That's what we want for you. And here's one more technique: the one in, one out rule. For every new item you buy, remove one from your home. This keeps spending intentional and reduces clutter. You'll be amazed how often you choose not to buy, because the thought of removing something feels like effort. This rule works for budgets. 2. Want to increase joy by $20 this month? Decrease essentials or growth by the same. Make your trade-offs visible. It creates balance. Finally, let's zoom out. Minimalist budgeting is a vehicle. The destination is up to you. Whether it's buying your first home, quitting a job you hate, traveling the world, or simply sleeping better at night, this system gets you there with less stress and more speed. Because you're no longer reacting, You're designing. And the beauty of design is that it's flexible. Life will change. Incomes will shift. Priorities will evolve. But with this framework, your budget evolves with you. That's freedom. And when you taste it, you'll never want to go back. Let's wrap this up with a vision. Imagine waking up, opening your banking app, and feeling calm. You see your categories. You see your goals. You know what's coming in, what's going out, and what's being built. That's the minimalist budgeting effect. It's not about being frugal to the point of frustration. It's about intentional living. Think about your calendar. When every day is crammed, you feel overwhelmed. But when you make space, when you leave margins, you breathe easier. Money works the same way. If every dollar is spent before it arrives, you suffocate. But when you create space, margin in your budget, you find freedom. Nina found that freedom. A year after starting, she had a 6-month emergency fund. She took a sabbatical to travel. She started a side hustle she actually loved. She said no to things she used to feel pressured into. And she stopped comparing her life to Instagram. Darren started using his budgeting skills to help other teachers in his school. They built a workshop series called Smart Money Mondays. What started as a simple experiment became a ripple effect. Tasha built credit, started saving for a car, and even set up a college fund for her daughter. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building. And now it's your turn. Don't wait for a crisis to take control. Start with what you have, where you are. Open your statements. Create your categories. Automate what you can. Reflect weekly. Adjust monthly. And remember, money isn't the goal. Peace is. Minimalist budgeting is just the tool that gets you there. So before we end, let's do a quick recap. 1. Focus on 3 categories: essentials, growth, and joy. 2. Automate your savings and key expenses. 3. Cap your discretionary spending and track visually. 4. Audit subscriptions and simplify meals. 5. Review weekly and adjust with grace. This system doesn't require spreadsheets or 6 figures. It requires clarity, intention, and consistency. And if you make the shift, just like Nina, Darren, and Tasha, you'll discover a life where less spending leads to more freedom, less noise leads to more clarity, and less stress leads to more joy. Because minimalist budgeting isn't just about budgeting. It's about becoming someone who chooses what matters and lets go of what doesn't. And that's a kind of wealth money can't buy. Thanks for joining me on this journey. I'm Scott Blaze, and this has been another episode of Money Mind Unlocked. If this episode inspired you, consider sharing it with someone who needs a fresh start. You never know, your simple act might be their turning point. Until next time, spend with intention, save with purpose, and live with clarity. Before we part ways, let's go deeper into the mindset behind minimalist budgeting. There's a powerful idea I want you to hold on to: what you track, you improve. Budgeting isn't restrictive, it's revealing. It shows you who you've been, so you can decide who you want to become. Let's talk about invisible spending, the little leaks that drain your financial power. Rounding errors, fees, auto renewals, coffee runs. You might not notice them, but they notice you. Over time, they shape your trajectory. When Nina first did her budget, she found $160 in fees across 3 months: late fees, ATM fees, overdraft charges. None were intentional, all were preventable. By setting reminders, automating minimum payments, and switching to a no-fee checking account, she reclaimed that money. But more importantly, she reclaimed her attention. Because every time you pay a fee, you're not just losing money, you're losing focus. Minimalist budgeting puts that focus back in your hands. Let's touch on energy. 2. Money isn't just math, it's emotion. It's stress, guilt, pride, fear, excitement. Every dollar decision is layered with psychology. That's why minimalist budgeting works. It reduces the emotional friction. When you eliminate clutter, 10 categories, 5 cards, multiple accounts, you free your brain to focus on what matters. When you have one savings goal instead of 7, you can hit it faster. When you say no to 10 average purchases, you can say yes to one great one. Minimalism amplifies intention. And it's not just about things, it's about time. Most people think budgeting takes hours. The minimalist method takes minutes. Because it's not about managing every penny, it's about managing direction. Are you moving toward peace or chaos? Toward growth or drift? Toward joy or numbness? Your budget doesn't have to be perfect, but it should have a purpose. Here's a powerful trick. Use a money calendar. On the 1st, review your income forecast. On the 5th, pay bills. On the 15th, check your goals. On the 25th, prep for next month. Simple checkpoints keep you grounded. Now, a few minimalist tools worth mentioning. 1. A whiteboard or wall calendar, for visible planning. 2. A digital banking app with savings goals, like Ally or Capital One. 3. One checking account and one high-yield savings account, no more juggling. 4. A cashback credit card with autopay for benefits without stress. 5. A weekly budget ritual, 15 minutes every Sunday. These tools aren't magic, but when used with consistency, they work like magic. Let's also tackle lifestyle creep. That's when your spending rises as your income does. It feels harmless, until you realize you've doubled your earnings but not your savings. Minimalist budgeting protects you from that. Because your spending plan stays the same, even if your paycheck grows. That difference? It goes to growth. When Darren got a raise, he didn't upgrade his car, he upgraded his investments. That single choice added 5 figures to his net worth in 2 years. Minimalism doesn't mean freezing your lifestyle. It means designing it with purpose. And when you do that, when you stop buying just because you can, you start living by values, not by impulse. You find new confidence, a quiet pride, the kind that doesn't need designer labels or flashy vacations to feel enough. You realize wealth isn't a number, it's a state of mind. A minimalist budget is your entry point into that mindset. And it starts today. So open your notes. Make 3 categories. Write your income. Divide it with intention. Then act. Act with clarity. Act with courage. Because money flows to those who respect it, who direct it, who grow it with patience and purpose. That can be you. That will be you. And when it is, you won't just have more money. You'll have more life. And that's the goal of it all. So here's your challenge, just for the next 30 days. Live with less noise. Spend with intention. Save like your future depends on it. And reflect each week with honesty, not judgment. You'll be surprised what happens. You may spend less, but you'll feel more. You'll carry less, but walk taller. You'll own fewer things, but feel more powerful. That's the paradox of minimalism. Less, truly, becomes more. And that's the secret of minimalist budgeting. You're not just changing your spending, you're changing your story. Thanks again for tuning in. Take what you've learned today and make it yours. Begin now, because the earlier you start, the freer you become. Because money isn't the destination, it's the vehicle. And today, you've taken the wheel. Drive forward, with clarity, courage, and calm. Your budget isn't just numbers. It's a reflection of your values, your priorities, your dreams. And now, it reflects a version of you that's intentional, empowered, and unstoppable. Let every choice you make from here forward remind you, freedom isn't found in what you spend. It's built in what you keep, protect, and grow. Go live that truth. And if ever you feel tempted to give up, just remember, every dollar you don't waste is a vote for the life you truly want. Every budget review is a small act of self-respect. Every saving decision is one brick in your foundation of freedom. Keep building, keep choosing, keep going. You've got this. Because ultimately, the goal isn't just a bigger bank account. It's a better life, a calmer mind, a future you're proud to walk into. Minimalist budgeting isn't a restriction, it's an invitation. To realign, to reclaim, to rise. So go, build, believe, begin. This is your moment.